Jalen had just coaxed the diagnostic console into behaving, a rare victory, when the lab door slid open with its usual melodramatic hiss. Lysera entered, graceful in the way only an Arelai could be, her long ears rising slightly as they caught the hum of machinery like antennae tuned to emotions rather than sound. The soft glow along their edges flickered a calm silver blue, her default state whenever she wasn't startled, annoyed, or near Jalen when he did something accidentally catastrophic. All three happened more often than anyone preferred. "You recalibrated the thermal stabilizer," she observed, leaning over his shoulder to inspect the panel. She always stood close when she worked, far closer than humans did, and Jalen still hadn't decided whether Arelai simply had a different sense of personal space, or whether she was testing how many social malfunctions he could endure before combusting. "It was recalibrate or watch it melt through the floor," he said. "And I like the floor. It keeps me from falling into space." Lysera's ears glowed with a ripple of pale green amusement. "We have atmospheric shields, Jalen. You wouldn't fall into space. Okay, then I'd fall into the storage bay, and that's worse. Do you know how many mislabeled crates are down there? One wrong step and I could end up in a shipment of self-replicating toothbrushes again." "That happened once," she reminded him, but her smile softened. He handed her a small scanning tool without looking, and she took it automatically, her fingers brushing his. She didn't react at first, only continued examining the stabilizer with her usual meticulous calm. Jalen watched her work, her steady hands, her composed expression, and the faint pulse of color shifting along her ears as she concentrated. He admired how collected she always seemed. He, meanwhile, possessed all the composure of a slightly drunk space pigeon. "You missed the flux line in the corner," she said. "I didn't miss it," he argued. "I just didn't fix it." "That is what missing it means. Semantics." She gave him a look that was probably the Arelai version of exasperation. On her, it looked elegant. He crouched to reach the flux line, tugging a cable free. "Can you hold that light? It keeps flickering, and I'd like to see what I'm doing before I accidentally electrocute myself." Again. Lysera raised the hand lamp, illuminating the corner. The glow bounced off her silver eyes, making them shimmer like molten metal. The stabilizer buzzed, the cable sparked. Jalen muttered something very unheroic under his breath and yanked a connector into place. "There," he said, pushing himself to his feet. "Fixed, probably, maybe, don't quote me." She handed the scanner back to him. "Thank you." "Thanks, love," he said automatically, the way he always had with coworkers on Earth, without thought. Just a warm, casual habit that slipped out on autopilot. Lysera froze so completely he wondered if he had actually electrocuted her. Her ears snapped upright, glowing with a brilliant pulse of rose and gold, the color shifting so fast it looked almost like fire beneath her skin. Her eyes widened, her breath caught, and for one terrifying second Jalen thought she might faint or implode or summon some ancient Arelai bonding ritual involving ceremonial chanting. He said. "Are you okay?" Her lips parted, but no sound left them. The glowing in her ears intensified, spiraling into hues he'd never seen before, shades that looked like sunrise spilled across metal. She took one slow step back, not in fear but in shock, like he had hurled some emotionally explosive device, and she was still trying to understand its blast radius. "Jalen," she whispered, "do you understand what you said?" He blinked. Thanks, or the part after that." "The part after." "Oh," he mentally rewound the moment and then felt his organs attempt to pack their bags and flee. "Oh no." Her ears flickered wildly. Confusion, embarrassment, something softer beneath it all. Jalen had learned enough Arelai color language to know this particular swirl meant something dangerously close to emotional vulnerability. "Lysera," he began, raising his hands in surrender, "on Earth, love can be an affectionate filler, totally casual. Friendly. Zero romantic weight, like calling someone buddy or pal." Her ears glowed incredulously. "You call your friends your beloved companions. When you say it like that, it sounds absurd." "Because it is absurd." Jalen groaned and ran a hand through his hair. "Look, I didn't mean anything weird. I didn't even think. My brain is, well, it's not the galaxy's most reliable hardware." Lysera stared at him with an expression he couldn't read. Not anger, not hurt, but something fragile, as if she was piecing together a new understanding and didn't trust any piece to stay where she placed it. "You used a word we reserve for chosen partners," she said quietly. "Deeply chosen." He felt his heart stumble. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean." "I know you didn't," she whispered, though her ears dimmed with uncertainty. "But I cannot pretend the word meant nothing. Not to me." He opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again, managing only, "Oh, stars." Lysera took another slow breath. Arelai emotions are delicate. We do not soften them with casual phrasing. When we speak affection aloud, it is intentional. Jalen swallowed. And when humans speak affection aloud, sometimes it's because they're trying to find the coffee machine. Her ears flickered again, almost a laugh, almost. Silence stretched between them, awkward yet charged, full of questions neither dared ask, full of feelings neither had expected. Finally, Lysera stepped back toward the panel, forcing her composure to return. "We should finish the stabilizer inspection." "Right," he said. "Good idea. Technical things, very safe, very non-emotional." But her ears kept glowing in soft, uncontrollable pulses, betraying her completely. And Jalen, for the first time, realized that maybe his casual word wasn't casual at all. Not to her. And maybe not to him either. The repair bay hummed with the usual chorus of half-broken starship parts complaining about their existence. I was halfway inside a ventilation duct, trying not to get dust in my mouth, when Lyra appeared beside me with the silent grace of someone who had definitely rehearsed her entrance. Her long ears twitched as she leaned closer, watching me like I was an exotic animal attempting a magic trick. "You are stuck again," she said, voice lilting with concern she tried to hide. "Not stuck," I said, wiggling one leg that was absolutely stuck. "Just strategically wedged." She blinked slowly, then offered her hand. I took it, and she pulled with far more strength than her slender frame suggested, so much that I slid out of the duct like a torpedo and nearly crashed into her. She steadied me, hands warm, ears lifting high. "You should not work alone," she murmured. "You always find trouble." "Trouble finds me," I corrected, brushing off my shirt. "I'm extremely approachable." Her ears folded slightly, a sign I'd learned meant amusement. But today that amusement carried something else, an anxious flicker, like a spark waiting to catch fire. She followed me as I crossed the bay, steps light, too close, as if resisting the urge to walk shoulder to shoulder. When I reached the workbench, she lingered beside me, pretending to examine a scanner she held upside down. "You have been different," she said finally. "Since yesterday. Yesterday, what happened yesterday? You called me a strange word." Her voice softened, shy in a way I didn't think she was capable of. "Love. Ah, that." I rubbed the back of my neck. "That's just a human thing," I said. "A casual phrase." "Casual," she repeated, as though testing whether the word was poisonous. Her ears drooped. "I see." But she didn't see, not at all. She hovered beside me the rest of the morning, her movements oddly careful, as if she were afraid she might break something invisible. When I asked her to pass a tool, she handed me every tool on the bench at once. When I climbed a ladder, she grabbed the bottom like it was going to escape. When I sneezed, she nearly called medical. "Lyra," I said gently, "you're acting weird." "I am not acting weird," she insisted, standing stiff as a malfunctioning droid. "I am acting normal." "No, you're acting normal for someone who thinks I proposed yesterday." Her pupils widened. "Proposed?" A mechanic down the row dropped a wrench. Lyra's ears shot straight up like antennae detecting scandal. That is not what I believed." It was exactly what she believed. I sighed and guided her behind a stack of cargo crates for privacy. "Look," I said, "humans say things like love, dear, mate, and none of it means we're declaring eternal union." "Mate." She blushed so hard her ears turned pink. "You have called others this?" Not exactly." "So I am the only one." Her voice was small. "And that does not mean anything." I opened my mouth, closed it, and tried again. "It means I like you, just normal liking." "What is normal for humans is not normal for my kind," she whispered. "Words matter. They are binding threads." She touched her chest lightly. "When you say such things, it changes the pattern of my life." I felt a twist in my stomach, guilt, maybe, or the sudden awareness that her emotions ran deeper than I'd realized. Lyra, I didn't mean to confuse you. You did confuse me, she admitted, but I do not wish you to undo it. Then, before I could respond, a loud alarm blared across the bay. An energy surge tremor shook the deck short, sharp, too controlled to be an accident. Lyra's ears shot toward the sound. That came from the docking ring, she said. We should go. Right, I said, grateful for the interruption and terrified of the interruption. We ran together toward the corridor, boots pounding in sync, her stride quick enough to match mine without effort. Whatever was waiting for us was dangerous, someone messing with the ship from the outside. But as we turned the corner, she glanced at me, determination bright in her eyes. After this, she said, you will explain more human words to me. Deal, I said, but maybe not love today. Perhaps today, she replied, ears tilting in mischief. And then we sprinted into the chaos. The docking ring was a mess of flickering lights and half-closed blast doors that clearly weren't sure whether to seal us in or eject us into space. Lyra sprinted beside me, her long ears tilted forward like targeting sensors. The tremors from the energy surge had stopped, but the tension hadn't. The air felt charged, like the ship itself was holding its breath. A panel sparked violently as we passed it. I jumped. Lyra didn't. She simply flicked the wires with a graceful tap, and the panel obediently shut down. You terrify technology, I told her. Machines respect confidence, she said. You should try it. I do. They ignore me. She gave me a quick smile, brief, but enough to send a surprising warmth through me. Then we reached the source of the disturbance. A small vessel had force-docked itself to our ring, its hull patched with mismatched metals and wrapped in unauthorized magnetic clamps. 3 pirates were prying open an access hatch with tools that made concerning noises. Lyra stepped in front of me immediately. Stay behind me, she murmured. Absolutely not, I whispered back. We do this together. Together, she repeated, ears curling slightly. Very well. The pirates noticed us. The biggest one grinned, revealing a set of teeth that looked like they'd been borrowed from a blender. You too, he said. Don't make this harder. Oh, trust us, I said. We specialize in making things harder. Lyra shot me a look. Was that meant to sound heroic? I was going for intimidating. It did not work. But she stepped forward anyway, palms glowing faintly with the biolum field her species used for defense. The pirates exchanged uneasy glances, good sign, and then charged us, not a good sign. Lyra moved like a ripple of light, intercepting the first attacker with a sweeping arc of her energy that sent him flying backward. The second swung a plasma wrench at me, but thankfully I had spent the last 3 days stuck in vents and lifting malfunctioning engines. I dodged and countered with a move that looked far cooler than it felt. My elbow connected with his jaw. He crumpled. Lyra noticed. You improved, she said proudly. Thanks, love, I said without thinking. She froze mid-motion. You said it again. Sorry, habit. No, she said softly, even as she kicked the last pirate's weapon away. Not habit. She reached out, taking my hand with a courage that made my chest tighten. Before either of us could address the extremely loud emotional moment we were having, a second tremor rocked the docking ring. The pirate ship's engines were powering up, about to break free with their clamps still embedded in our hull. We have to release it, Lyra said, or it will tear the ring apart. We raced to the manual override panel. Of course, it was located on the outside of the docking tunnel. Of course, the pirates had damaged the automatic seal. And of course, it dangled halfway open like a mouth waiting to swallow us into space. I'll do it, I said. You stabilize the inner door. You will be exposed, she warned. Only for a second. A second is enough to lose you. Her voice trembled. I will not accept that. I placed a hand on her cheek gently. You said your people believe words are threads that bind. Then hear this one, trust. Her eyes softened. She squeezed my hand once, then nodded. Go, she whispered. I braced myself, then slipped through the half-open panel, clinging to the handholds. Space yawned below me, stars spinning lazily, which would have been relaxing if not for the whole imminent death aspect. I reached the manual release lever, kicked it with my heel, and the pirate ship detached with a loud metallic groan. The sudden decompression pulled at me, dragging me toward open space. I slipped, briefly, and felt weightlessness seize me. Then a hand caught mine. Lyra. She pulled with all her strength, hauling me back through the hatch before the emergency shutters slammed down. We landed in a heap on the deck, both gasping. Her hands trembled as they cupped my face. "Do not ever do that again," she breathed. "I'm planning on never doing it the first time," I wheezed. Her ears lowered until they brushed my forehead. "You frightened me." "I frightened me, too."